This is Lewis Hart for Boxing Social in association with Empire Fight Store. Delighted today to be joined with Skye Nicolson here at the iBox gym in Bromley. It's been a busy week for yourself, an exciting week for yourself. Obviously, massive fight news, Raven Chapman in Saudi Arabia. But other than that, how's things? How are you?
So good, so happy, so excited. I feel like, obviously the news dropping this week, it's just kind of upped everything again to another level. It always does. When the fight's announced, you know it's officially going ahead. I'm feeling really good. Can't wait.
I was going to say that aside from sort of the fight being announced, it was almost sort of, we said, like one of the worst kept secrets in boxing. I think it was pretty clear that either way you would be fighting Raven next. It's been built up for a long time. It's always been Skye and Raven. Like, when's that going to happen? Even before all of the stuff between like Queensberry and Matcham working together. I guess to finally have it finally have it there and on the line, it must be a great feeling as well.
Yeah, it is. I feel like this is a fight that Raven and I have both wanted, a fight that, the type of fight that we've both been kind of chasing. So we've kind of been on that similar trajectory from the start of our pro careers, which is obviously why we're constantly being brought up as a fight that fans want to see. I think we're a great clash of styles, and I'm really happy it's done now. I was told she was my mandatory after I won the world title against Mahfoud. They said that it was going to be ordered after my first voluntary defence against Vargas. And then obviously rumours started going around that Tiara Brown was mandatory, and me, Raven, Tiara, no one really knew what was happening, what the go was there. I think, two people were kind of told they were going to be mandatory for me. No fight was ordered for me versus Raven or me versus Tiara, so obviously the plans went ahead as they were originally for me to fight Raven. For me, I didn't really care who was next, if it was Raven or Tiara. I think they're both great fights in the featherweight division, but I'm really happy that Raven and I are on this huge card, getting this huge opportunity to fly the flag for women's boxing for Riyadh season. I'm really excited. I feel like the featherweight division's heating up, and there's some really big fights there now, and this is the first of hopefully many.
Definitely, for sure. And just mentioned there about sort of this fight has had quite a big build-up, or quite a long build-up to it. Do you think it's always good, because your career isn't defined by other fighters, but whenever your name was mentioned whenever your name is mentioned, Raven's name gets mentioned as a potential fight. Whenever Raven's name gets mentioned, your name's always a potential fight. So, is there a good thing that it has that build-up where you've got that Queensberry Matcham element, like? It's got a perfect build-up to it. Yeah,
it's a great build-up. It's definitely, I feel like, a respectful build-up as well. Raven and I definitely have a lot of respect for each other as fighters, as people. We get along well. There's definitely no bad blood, and I don't think there needs to be. I think our boxing styles, our performances, what we've already achieved kind of all speak for themselves and build this fight up enough without all of that. I feel like it's a great fight. I think, like I said, it's a great clash of styles. I think it's going to be an exciting and entertaining fight. She brings the fight, which everyone knows I love as well. So for me, it's just exciting. I'm really, really excited. I just feel like this will feel like my true crowning moment as a world champion. Obviously, I haven't really got out of second gear in my other fights, so I feel like this is definitely a more competitive fight than previous opponents. So I think fans are quite excited to see how I deal with that, how I manage that. I'm respectfully very confident, but also really excited because I feel like the fans are going to see something they haven't seen from me before, which I think a fight with Raven and the likes of Raven will bring out of me.
Actually, you almost took the words out of my mouth there for my next question, because I was going to say, I think before the Vargas fight, which was obviously a fight that you pretty much cruised in, sort of, as you say, didn't get out of second or third gear for that. And you spoke about before where it's like, when you beat Mahfoud, and especially now you beat Vargas, you never felt like you had that crowning moment. You never felt like, I don't feel like you've earned being a world champion, but you haven't exactly. So do you feel like this fight brings that out of you?
Definitely. I feel like these are like the real fights, and that's absolutely no disrespect to Sarah Mahfood or Diana Vargas. They are great fighters in their own right, and they've had great careers as well. So I don't want to take away from that at all. And obviously, like, I obviously did still have very special moments winning the world title and defending the world title, but I feel like this could be a fight where I really have to bite down and fight as well, like not just cruise through the rounds, kind of like I have in previous fights. So I think at the end of the fight, I might feel that feeling that I've kind of not had when all the hard work kind of pays off, and it's all worth it in that moment where obviously my last few fights, like the training camps have been a lot harder than the fight. And yeah, I feel like maybe this could be the fight where that's different. Maybe not. I might cruise through this fight. Who knows? We'll see on October 12th. But I have a lot of respect for Raven. I think she's a great fighter. I know she's going to bring the fight. I know she's going to bring the fire. She's going to want to take me to deep waters and all of that, sink or swim. But no, I'm excited for that. I'm excited for the challenge ahead. And yeah, we're already putting in a really great camp. We've got 7 weeks to go, and I'm going to be prepared for absolutely anything.
Is there part of you like ideally like a perfect sort of fight for yourself would be like 10 rounds and you don't really get touched and stuff like that, or no adversity? But is there part of you that you kind of want that adversity? I mean, you want to not only I can make it pretty and I can box I can box, but really, do you want to prove that I can do many other things as well and stand there and trade?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I haven't had to show it, but it's there, and so I am actually excited to show it if I need to, but I'm not going to put myself into positions on purpose to make a fight harder for myself, and I think people struggle to understand that. I get the argument that, oh, you need to be more exciting or this and that, but I think my boxing skills are an art. And I'm proud of what I'm able to do. Of course, I'm going to use my strengths and my skills to my advantage. I'm not going to put myself in positions where I'm disadvantaging myself to make the fight more exciting for fans. There's absolutely no need for that. At the end of the day, it's win at all costs for me. I do hope in a weird way that Raven is able to maybe put me in positions where I have to show a little bit more or bite down hard and have a fight. But at the same time, if I can box and move and not get involved and win every round comfortably, why the hell wouldn't I?
Definitely, and I guess that's the exciting factor about the fight. But I think one of the big selling points of the fight, other than it being a great fight, is obviously the location, Saudi Arabia. And I know this is going to be a question that you're going to get for like the next 7 weeks and on fight week especially. So I do appreciate sort of if it is the same question, but. Fighting in Saudi Arabia, the first female world title fight in Saudi Arabia, and the first female boxing fight in Riyadh season. How big of a step in the right direction is this when you talk about women's boxing? Obviously, it's taken a few events for it to happen, but for this one to be the first and you to be involved in that, how special would you say that is? Yeah,
it's amazing. I feel so honoured to have this privilege and also this responsibility. I feel like Raven and I have a responsibility on our hands here to put on a show for the fans, to be in a real fight where we showcase that women can fight, that women can be strong and feminine. I feel like it's a really empowering position to be in, to inspire women as well. So for me, I feel very honoured to be in this position and to be part of this movement, and hopefully a step in the right direction, hopefully the first of many. Hopefully we can start seeing women's fights on all of the Riyadh season cards. So yeah, I think, while it's an honour, it's also a big responsibility on our hands. We are flying the flag for women's boxing over there, and for women in sport and just women in general. So for the women in the crowd to be there watching two women competing and performing on the world stage, I think can be a very inspiring moment. So I feel like it's a privilege and a responsibility, and one I'm not taking lightly.
That's good words, definitely, and obviously being from Australia as well, and being and I've always sort of spoke to you about being sort of a female influence from there. Obviously, there's great female boxers in Australia, but being one that is able to fight in Saudi Arabia, especially sort of with all the connotations around it, how important is it that you feel like now there's sort of, I guess you could say, a weight on your shoulders to be that influence? Yeah,
I mean, again, it's a weight on your shoulders that I'm you're kind of proud to have. It's a privilege, it's an honour, but it is a responsibility. And I know that I'm a role model. I know that I'm someone that young girls are looking up to. So, of course, while it's an honour and a privilege, it is still a responsibility. And you know that you are, I guess, being watched all around the world, from girls in Australia, from girls in the UK, America, Saudi Arabia, everywhere. So, yeah, I know I have a responsibility, and that's why I do try to, I guess, always represent myself with respect. I'm always trying to, I guess, inspire that next generation of girls and women that they can do anything they want to achieve, self-belief, all of that kind of thing. I just think it's so important. I think being on such a big world stage, especially this card's unbelievable. The names that I'm on an undercard with is just like a pinch me moment in itself. So yeah, to be on such the biggest of world stages, I know, yeah, it's definitely a responsibility, but one that I'm very honoured to have.
Definitely. And I guess you mentioned there about sharing the card with some great names. A guy who's a very, I guess, sort of same country as yourself, Opetaia. I think he turned pro quite a little bit before you, but yeah, I guess to share a card with him is great for Australian boxing, and also, yeah, I guess like that's a special moment. I don't know if you would have had many memories like in the youth or anything with Opetaia, but yeah, that's also a special moment as well.
Yeah, I think it's a very special moment for Australia, for Australian boxing, for the Australian boxing community to have obviously two Aussie boxers on such I guess, historical card that's taking place on October 12th. So, yeah, for Jai and I think it's, again, a responsibility on us to be carrying boxing for Australia as well over there. I think, yeah, Jai's obviously a great talent. We were in the amateurs, in the juniors and youths around the same time together, and it's a very different setup in Australia. It's not like Team GB where you're like living and training together all the time. But we definitely were on camps and stuff together before he turned pro quite young. But no, I've known Jai since we were probably 13, 14 years old. So to see how well he's doing and to now be on the same card, and such a big card that it is, both in world title fights as well, a very special moment and a very, yeah, I think proud moment for Australian boxing as well.
Definitely. I do just want to quickly move on and touch on other things. And this is another name that's always been brought up to yourself, especially recently, is Amanda Serrano. Just before her fight, actually, it was like a week, obviously, she fought a week after yourself, actually, in Philadelphia. She was actually asked about the Skye Nicolson fight in a media scrum, and she said, you know, I don't decide who I fight, it's up to my manager. You've been pretty clear that you don't really think that this fight's going to happen as much as you do want it. And when you hear things like that, does it sort of fill you with a little bit more confidence that it's not going to happen?
I mean, yeah, I would say so. I think like the fact that she just refuses to entertain the idea of a fight with me, you see her face change when my name gets brought up in media interviews. Yeah, it doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence that fight will ever happen. But I never say never, so I don't want to say the fight will never happen. But obviously I don't see her and her team ever showing any interest in that fight, unfortunately. And I just feel like the longer it goes on, the less like, what's the word? The less rewarding it is for me, because at the end of the day, like, I want to dethrone champions. I want to prove I'm the best by beating the best. And like, the later that fight happens, if it happens, the more the response will be, oh, she didn't fight her in her prime, she was done, she was old, she was this, she was that. It's like, well, I've got the receipts and I've been calling her out for 2 years. So yeah, while it is frustrating, we move on. It was never anything personal. It's not that I want to fight her as such, but obviously someone who's obviously done so much for the sport has been a trailblazer, has obviously so many records, and being 7 division world champion and the rest of it, and holds belts in my weight division. Of course, naturally, that's the fight I want to chase. But they have made it quite clear that it's no interest to them, so that's fine. I will have to stamp my legacy in any other way I can, beating everyone who's put in front of me and winning as many belts as I can, with or without the Serrano fight.
Definitely. And yeah, I guess the last couple from myself. A topic I did want to speak to you about. You are obviously an Olympian, and you was in Paris seeing how Team Australia went on. And yeah, I guess the status of 2028 with LA, the Olympics is sort of, boxing in the Olympics is sort of unclear. I think it's fair to say in 24 in the Summer Olympics, boxing didn't really cover itself in glory. From your honest opinion, especially with all the situation that's gone on with the IBA, do you think that boxing should be in LA under all sort of the things that happened? Obviously, I know the fighters miss out, but I know the fighters are the ones that suffer the most. But when you look at the bigger picture, do you think it would be the right decision?
I think it definitely needs to stay in the Olympics. I think it will be the end of boxing being removed from the Olympics. It's a very, very sad time for boxing right now, and I think the people at the top, the people who have power and control, need to do something about it, and they need to get it right. Unfortunately, boxing has been in the hands of corruption, money laundering, drug cheating, the rest of it, and it's really, really unfortunate that boxing has had to suffer for that. I think the people need to take hold of the situation and get it right, and save boxing. It would be very, very sad to see boxing not be in the Olympics. It's the only sport that's actually been in every Olympics from the beginning of the Olympics. So to see that go, I think would be very, very sad. And not just to the individual boxers who are striving for that goal, but for the generations of boxing to come from that. I think it'll be, an absolute disaster. So I hope the people that are at the top who have power and control, the Olympic Committee and everyone else involved can hopefully get it right and save boxing for 2028.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I guess as we do finish this off, I guess what can we expect on October 12th? First female world title fight in Saudi Arabia, Skye Nicolson, Raven Chapman. Yeah, what are we expecting?
Expect fireworks, and that's not something I say often. So I think we are going to see the perfect clash of styles. We're going to see 2 very skilled fighters putting it all out there, leaving it all in the ring, and it's all on the line for the crown. So there's really big fights to be made. There's unification fights down the line now for the featherweight division. So Raven and I both know what's at stake going into this fight, and I think you're going to see an absolute masterclass from me, and one not to be missed.
Definitely, it's one I can't wait for. Skye, as always, thank you for taking time to speak to me. I really appreciate it. Let me come down to the gym, and all the best, and enjoy this training session. Yeah, cheers, thank you.